When you think of violent video games, the Nintendo Switch doesn't really come to mind. Yes, I know there are some violent games on the Nintendo Switch, but it's mostly a family-friendly console unless you happen to be a teacher that took a Nintendo Switch away from one of your students and then you get savagely beaten for it. So this is not really a news story. It happened back in February. But it was trending last night on Twitter, and I thought I'd talk about it. Article from the Daily Mail, link below in the description section. Florida teacher savagely beaten unconscious by a 270-pound autistic student after she told him to stop playing his Nintendo Switch, refuses to back a lighter sentence as he faces up to 30 years in prison. A high school teacher was violently attacked by a student after she told him to stop playing on his Nintendo Switch. The autistic teen was seen in video punching and kicking the educator in the back of the head until she lay on the ground unconscious. The teenager is slated to issue his plea later in the month. I guess that's already happened because this article is from October and will be sentenced after in a separate proceeding. I'm sure most of you, including myself, know somebody that has autism, which is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects how people interact with others, communicate, learn, and behave. And for the record, not everybody that has autism is violent, but unfortunately there are a few that are. I'm not going to show you what happened, but it is linked in this article from the Daily Mail below in the description section. So as we talked about, the teacher took the Nintendo Switch from the student after he refused to stop playing it, and chances are he was going to get the Nintendo Switch back probably at the end of the day after school was over, but he couldn't handle that. I mean, I guess you could have some sympathy for him because of his condition, but I have even more sympathy for this teacher because the dude just runs into her, plows her, and knocks her on the ground and just keeps beating the crap out of her while several members of the school staff run up trying to get him off of this unconscious teacher. Bear in mind, this 17-year-old was 270 pounds, 6'6" in height. So he's pretty big. And the fact that he has autism is a very bad combination. The student also threatened to kill the teacher during his arrest. And the student has also had 3 prior battery arrests before the February 2023 attack and has been in a prison fight over the last month, according to the Daily Mail. Obviously, this young man who does have autism is a very violent individual. The teacher says, "I'm hopeful that the awareness of this incident being spread far and wide will prevent anyone else from ever dealing with this trauma, physical healing, and disruption of everyday life that this has caused." The teacher's GoFundMe page has raised more than $100,000. A lot of that is obviously going to go towards medical expenses because she was severely beaten and put in the hospital by a 6'6", 270-pound student. I completely understand that this teacher from Florida is refusing to back a lighter sentence from her attacker because the truth is, he could have easily beaten her into a coma or to death in his violent rage. She's pretty lucky to be alive. But the question we must ask ourselves, does this former student deserve to serve up to 30 years in prison, especially since he does have autism? I think in this circumstance, when you have somebody that has a mental condition like autism, they need a different kind of facility other than a penitentiary in order to deal with them. If the kid didn't have any mental condition and still did this, then I would say yes, he deserves to face full punishment for his crime in a actual federal or state prison. But he does have autism, and in my opinion, he does need to serve out his sentence, but perhaps in a mental facility that can cater to his condition. I don't think that he should be given a slap on the wrist because of his violent behavior towards this teacher and obviously growing record of violence against others. But I don't know if prison is the right place for somebody like him who suffers from autism. This is one of the many reasons why I wish we would refocus more effort into bringing back mental institutions, asylums, whatever you wish to call them, because there's a lot of people out there that do suffer from some sort of mental trauma and they just need help. They need a place to go. And all too often it feels like they have no other option besides being sent straight to jail or prison. But obviously this is a violent young man who, if he was to be released today, would most likely commit violent acts against other people for reasons. If he's willing to beat the crap out of a teacher over a Nintendo Switch, then unfortunately he is capable of much worse. Obviously, he owes a debt to society for his crime. Prison or a mental institution, which facility do you think he should be sentenced to? Thoughts, views, and opinions, as always, welcome below in the comments section.